True crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we have JT with his new channel, and I'm going to let him shout his channel out to you all. Tell him a little about your new true crime channel.
Yeah, I've got a passion for true crime, and especially the aspect of if there's anything local like Elijah Vu or Sade Robinson, to try to step in and volunteer and then make some content on that. So I do like to do some boots on the ground, as Jay likes to say. And
Yep.
then I like to do these live streams with you guys and Jay and talk true crime. So it's Poco Moonshine, and my handle's right there. It's Poco Moonshine. And I've got 5 subscribers, and Jay's one of them. So I appreciate you, Jay, and I'm excited for this journey. And thank you for helping me start my channel. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I think that this community, I think all communities should actually be that way. I think there's enough of everything in this entire world to go around that we can all be, collaborate and be cool, with each other. I don't feel like anybody's at competition with anybody, and I think we all would have more if we all just shared what we had. So that's how I feel about this community and any other community I'm in. So today we're talking about Sade Robinson. We're back. There's always more information. Let me welcome some of the people here. Let me say hi to the crime crew. We have a new member here. Jay Flannery, what is up? Thank you for being here midday on a Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
What's up, Jay?
Right? Yeah, we got Carrie Ann. Always good to see you. We got you can see the crime crews over there at the little, how the little symbols are.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sebastian Rogers, we're going to get to that. So I haven't seen that, but I will get to it. Melissa, Carly, Sadie's mama, and lots of other people, but Jana Lamb, yes, don't forget to hit that like button for everybody for JT's new channel as well. Go to his channel and subscribe. All right. There's nothing like a handsome man in a cow hat on a Friday afternoon. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I am wearing my pink, though, for Sade.
Oh, yeah, you are. And I would too if I had more of it, but I'll get some more. I have I had a couple awesome pink shirts and they're all gone, but I'll get them back. But we do have the red and blue theme, and that's going to be a lot of this because there's a lot going on with the cops and, everything going on in this case. So anybody that's here that's new, hello, Davey. Do you want to say anything about the case in general that you learned this week, or just anything about it? Recap.
Well, I have learned, and we'll get into it more with Nancy, that none of the blood in his house tested for his blood or Sade's.
Right.
So there's a now there's, when I say that, they haven't said that it wasn't his. They said for sure it wasn't Sade's, but they haven't said yet it wasn't his. So there's still a hope that it's actually his blood and not more victims. But you would think that if it was his blood, they would just say that.
Right.
Which makes me think that they don't know whose blood it is, which is why they just didn't say.
Or what we were talking about earlier, that, we may have another, we'll say Jeffrey Dahmer situation, that there are other victims, and we'll find out about them as we go, right? So
Right.
We'll see. But in the meantime, I'm going to put us aside. Let's see how well that does. I'm going to just go over the quick timeline for the folks that may not have seen the last episode really quickly. It's always nice to do that for these folks that don't know it exists and whatnot. So beautiful. Sade Robinson deserves all the attention in the world. We want to find her and bring her to rest with the family is what we want to do. Blood can become contaminated and unusable. Absolutely, it can, and especially if this was, for going on for a long time, and there was other. I wouldn't be surprised if there are other victims. How about you, JT?
I was just gonna say that I've got a gut feeling that this story is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, I think she's the one who's gonna put him on blast for everything else he's done. Whether he's killed other women in that house or he's just done things and let some go. I don't know. We're gonna find out. But I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg, Jay.
I absolutely do too, and maybe it's because I watch and consume too much true crime that it's usually a lot bigger than any more body parts found. We're going to talk about that now. The torso was found. We did not talk about the torso being found last time, so we're going to talk about that. I put the timeline up. I'll run through it, and then I have a quick well, I'll just tell you now. So volunteer searchers were trying to locate all of Sade Robinson's remains, and I don't know if you heard about that yet, but when they were on the beach along Lake Michigan, just after 7:30 a.m., somebody was walking around along South Milwaukee waterline, and they discovered the arm and torso. So last time we talked about, I believe, was it the leg? And yeah, we have to put a chart. Last time we were talking about, I think, a leg and maybe, I don't know. I don't remember talking about the torso last time. I think that was new since. Tell me, do you know?
I think that's new sense, but her dad, I think he either said the leg, and unfortunately they're missing her head still, which is why I think they haven't had her funeral.
Right. Yeah, and that's why we're trying to, we want to keep this case in the light and just keep covering it so that we don't get, so that it just doesn't lose sight. And it might be bigger. Maybe more women will come forward and say, he had me in the dungeon, I got away. Like that one, somebody brought it up last time. It was the guy that was bringing women home and killing them. And the lady jumped out of the window. She got away, and they found the House of Horrors. His name was Anthony something or other. But I have a feeling it's going to be like that. So anyway, so that's what they found. So you guys may or may not have heard. The people they found the arm and the torso, the remains washed ashore a quarter mile from the apartment complex. Residents watch as officers carried a body bag down the cliff to recover the body parts. Police have continued the search using their sonar detection boat to scour the lake. So they're still looking for parts. And then you all probably know, we talked a little bit about the dungeon that they discovered in the basement and the large hole in Maxwell Anderson's backyard, 5 feet by 6 feet. So neighbors say the basement in the home had a small window that was always covered and they couldn't see inside. They also found gas cans in the garage, blood in several areas including the bed, the wall, the stairwell leading to the basement. And now we know that it wasn't Sade's, right?
Yep. And just one quick thing about that, and not being Sade's, that tells me that there could be a second House of Horrors or location that because he obviously didn't cut her or do anything to her physically there if none of her blood is at that house anywhere. So where is
interesting.
Where did he hurt her? Where's his second location? And then what are you going to find out there? And then the wheels really started turning for me, Jay. Do some girls only get taken to the house with the dungeon, and do some girls only get taken to the second place where he dismembered her, or do some girls go to both places? I've got all sorts of questions.
That is a good question, and I didn't even connect the dots. I've been working on 5 other cases at the same time, and now that you say that, I'm like, wow, I mean, they mentioned the parents, have a mansion. I wonder if a lot of people, not a mansion, but like a McMansion, a really nice house. I wonder if he has
Well,
access to the parents' house.
the house he was staying in, I think, is one of their properties because it's a smaller one on the west side.
Right, right.
Um, I wonder if he's just using all sorts of their stuff, like a house, maybe if they have a business or a storage
That's
unit or a
right.
house even. I don't know what this guy's what they own. We have to start looking at what the parents own and then look at those locations and see if that knucklehead was doing anything there.
Yeah, I mean, Addie Perez said it's very sad to think about how Sade was feeling in her final moments. And no sentence or punishment will come close to the amount of pain and suffering. And he is a demon that caused Sade and her family pain. I'm assuming you're saying, but here's the thing: JT brought up that's important. What happened and where? And was this post mortem? Did he do this to her during? Why was she still alive? Did he do it after? Like what kind of torture did he put this poor woman through? And
And
yeah, where?
I wonder if he puts the drink in because they went to Duke's and then they went to his
In,
place. I wonder
right.
if he roofies these girls or puts something in their drinks, and then that way, if they do make it to the house, they're not even awake anyways.
In which house? Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, depending.
Damn.
She went to that
Yeah.
house, but there's no blood there. So
Yeah,
what?
that makes zero sense where
Well,
he
her
where he
cell phone
went.
went there, so she could have been passed out, and then I,
Right.
I don't know. Like we need more details from the police, but I have a feeling though that some of these girls get drugged and you know
Right. I think we might learn more information today with what we're going to watch, and some of those answers are going to be a little clearer. So what I'm going to do right now is, and thank you Jojo for show. I'm going to play, there's some new interviews, one with the dad. We definitely want to see the dad. One quick one new with the mom, because the mom is really trying to keep her daughter in the light. Couple minutes each, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to try to answer these questions for you, and speculate and try to bring this case together and keep you guys engaged. Like, share, subscribe, go to JT's channel. But we really don't want this to die down, because, well, not just justice for her, but there really can be a whole bunch of other women that he was doing this to, and we suspect that's the case. So anyway, if you guys can't see the timeline, I don't know how big your screen is, but this happened on April 1st. I don't like April Fool's Day. Um, they, like JT said, they went on a date. They went to the fisherman. The times at this point we went over, but on April 1st, they started at tech started between 4:15, and then by 6:24 they both head east to Duke's on the Water, which is a bar. Is that correct,
correct.
JT?
It's just a bar. That's you can only get. That's all you can buy there. No food, nothing.
Okay, so they went to a bar for 2 hours, from 7:04 to 9:06, which is quite a long time if you're just drinking. And then after that, they headed to Maxwell's house, which interesting that the blood didn't match hers, and we'll get into that. So then 3 hours later, go ahead.
No, and
I thought,
just my mom brought it up. She says, "Well, wouldn't someone notice the blood in his place?" And I said, "Well, not unless they're already sleeping by the time they got there. Like if he put something in their drinks at the bar."
right. Absolutely. Again, another Dahmer reference, and maybe the mom was thinking that when she referenced Dahmer, because that's all he did was, like, every single person, the only way he could control them was by drugging them, putting something in their drink. So he did work at that bar, correct?
No, he worked at that
Oh,
twisted. Uh,
no, he worked at the fish place that he took her to, or whatever
he has
Twisted Fisherman.
at other bars. I just don't know which ones.
Right. I was getting the bar
But he's
confused with
been a
where he took
bartender.
her. Right. Yeah. Oh wow, I wonder what we're gonna find out. And we don't have all the body parts, but maybe the torso will be telling. Maybe they'll be able to do some testing if there's enough. You know,
Right. And if you're a bartender, you've got limited access to everybody's drinks. So you can really pick a victim if you really wanted to play that game. I mean, so I don't know what this guy. how many locations, what he's done. Has he done this
Right.
in bartending? Like, there's a lot of questions with this guy.
There is, and I think we're gonna find out more and more because people will come out as this case grows. I guarantee you, they will come out and say more things about this guy. He's a little out there. So, all right, we went over the timeline. It was April 1st, and then she went missing. They right away they noticed that she was missing. So by April 2nd, right, they were already looking for her, which is great. I mean, that means people care about her. She is loved, and she was on the right track in life. And it's sad that they cut it so short. So let's hear what her dad.
Shuttle.
Go ahead.
She worked at the pizza shuttle, and everybody said she was very nice person. And I think that was someone who called too, who one of her coworkers were like, "That's not usual for her to not just show up."
Wasn't she? She was in college as well too, right? So she was working there and going to college at the same time.
She was a good girl.
She was a good girl. So look at how cute this is. I'm going to play this. Her dad. This is the first time I've seen him, so he speaks out about it. And as we go, we'll learn a lot more today, I think.
First time we are hearing from the father of Sade Robinson. She's the 19-year-old who was killed and mutilated after going on a first date. Fox 6's Bria Jones joins us live now with a look at the exclusive interview. Bria?
Mary, this is no parent to experience. Carlos Robinson lives in Florida, but his heart is right here in Milwaukee with his daughter, Sade Robinson, as the search for her remains continues.
Looking for her head and her arm.
Holding back tears. With each breath, Carlos Robinson is uttering words no father wishes to speak.
A parent to have to deal with this type of trauma and tragedy is inconceivable. It's almost like I wake up to live in a nightmare every day.
He's living with the haunting image of his daughter, 19-year-old Sade Carlina Robinson's death. Authorities say she was killed and dismembered while on a first date with 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson.
Do you know how Sade met Maxwell Anderson?
No, I don't know for sure. He's definitely not my daughter's type. I don't know. I got so many questions I can't answer.
Robinson was last.
I just want to point out, and you guys heard him laugh when he said that uncomfortably. So just for those people that do talk about, when we're talking about true crime, sometimes, we do laugh uncomfortably, but we're not laughing at anything. And I'm sure her dad wasn't, but she probably does know his type. And maybe this guy just completely, maybe she's his type and he just went hard for it. Right. So, it's interesting that he even says that. So this poor guy.
Seen on April 1st. The next day, a severed leg was found in Warnemont Park in Cudahy. Her father says he was in disbelief when her mother called him in Florida.
They came here to get my DNA to match up. I was hoping that it wasn't her, what they found.
Sadly, it was Sade's leg. Her car was found torched, and in the coming weeks, more body parts would be discovered across Milwaukee County.
What is it like every time they find a body part to get that notification?
It's like I want to know everything, but then I don't know if I can handle it. It's devastating. She was a beautiful, beautiful soul.
A soul he's hoping the community can help lay to rest by seeking justice and finding the rest of her remains.
She's out there, and I need to find her to be able to put her to rest properly.
Tonight, this memorial outside Sade's job at Pizza Shuttle continues to grow. Her father says that he plans to make his way to Milwaukee to search for himself soon. He's also encouraging people to continue to search for areas where other body parts are found and also along the lakeshore. He tells me that a memorial has been set for May 10th, which is Sade's birthday. Now reporting live in Milwaukee, Bria Jones, Fox 6 News.
Yeah, I passed them.
Oh, that's May 10th. That's a good day to do that on somebody's birthday,
Mm-hmm.
Sad, but it seems like there was a lot of love for her, and I love all the pink out there. So any thoughts? And then we'll go to the mom. We did hear her talk, but this is a lot shorter of an interview. And everybody, please everybody already knows in this community. Just be kind. All right.
All right.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. Pull this down. I think. Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah,
I'm wondering.
He's a great guy,
Go
though,
ahead.
and it's just a shame, man. Both her parents seem very kind people, so you know, she's a reflection of them. So she seemed like a great girl.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's not one of those cases where, you know, a lot of times you hear the parents were doing this or doing that, or they seem like really supportive, good parents that had her on the right track. And I'm so glad I'm pulling this up, but I'm so glad that she checked in with somebody and let them know that she was going on a date. That's a lesson for everybody with these dating apps nowadays. Please.
I need to lay my baby to
Oh,
rest.
hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Wish.
Before I play that, so we don't have to, and none of us have to say any of that. Please, if you're going on a dating app or you're just going on a date, just if you have a roommate or something, leave the name and number, an address, something. Just slip it under a keyboard, put it somewhere, so if you don't make it home, they know who you're with. That's always been my rule of thumb with my roommates, is to, even if you don't want to let them know, then just leave something so we know where they are. So that's my advice to people, all these ladies out there on dating apps. Man, that scares me. All right, let's listen to her mom. Oh, she's getting a tattoo. This is cool. Did you see this one yet?
Yeah, she was getting inked up.
Yep. That's
I like
cool.
her
I know. I like everything that she's got rocking, and I love that this is her first tattoo. So I will correct somebody when they say something, though, about a tattoo. If there's anyone in the community, they call it a tattoo gun, and it's called a tattoo machine. Guns kill people, and machines make art. So just that, I was a tattoo art. Well, I'm still a tattoo artist, but for 25 years I did that, and I got schooled one time. A tattoo artist said, "I'd rather you call my mother a whore than a tattoo gun, or to call my machine a gun." And never again did I say that. So, all right. Yeah, you learn the hard way sometimes. All right, let's listen to what her mom has to say while she gets tattooed.
Lay my baby to rest. This is my wish on my birthday. I need the community to keep standing with us, and I appreciate all of the support. And this is Sade's voice being heard.
Earlier tonight, the mother of Sade Robinson, Sheena Scarborough, commemorated her daughter after her tragic death by getting a new tattoo. Kaylee Starro talked with her about that and the ongoing search.
At Black Rabbit Tattoo Collective, Aisha Valentine is designing a birthday tattoo for Sheena Scarborough.
I spend every birthday with my daughters. We do small things, we do family things.
Sheena's daughter, Sade Robinson, was murdered earlier this month.
I knew my baby was an earth angel, but I didn't know that God was going to take her from me this soon.
Her angel's wings,
this one right here,
now a part of her forever.
The only thing I came to do was get my first tattoo of my baby.
A birthday tattoo and a plea to the entire community.
Right now, I need us to focus on finding the rest of my baby, please. That's all I'm praying for. That's all I want for my birthday wishes.
From the hum of a tattoo gun.
See, she called it a tattoo gun. Don't do that, lady. No, but what I was going to say was that's so sad to even hear her say that. All she wants is use the tattoo gun thing. It's sad that she wants to find the rest of her daughter's body parts. That's the worst thing that anybody could probably say. It's hard. It's just
birthday. Like, just I can't imagine the amount of pain she's in.
Me either. And I must say to everybody that does look for therapy, tattooing is a therapy. Honestly, people use tattoo therapy all the time. It's a thing and it helps. And you look at all the tattoos I have now, you know I need massive therapy, right?
I've got a couple
tattoo. Yeah. People don't always know that, but it is there's a such thing as tattoo therapy. It does something with your endorphins and there's a lot of things that go on with that. So it makes sense. A lot of parents do that. I don't think it's necessarily just for the commemoration, but it does help. It really does release some things inside, and it's a therapy. So anyway, I'm glad that they did this interview with the mom. It's a good one.
To the waves of the Milwaukee River. Family and friends were out doing just that on Saturday, searching for clues.
By Kern Park, we've had kayaks, wetsuits as well. Just trying to find anything.
I met with Kenny Johnson, who has been one of the people searching since Sade first went missing April 1st.
She hasn't been laid to rest. It doesn't make sense why the family don't have answers.
After her body parts have been found across Milwaukee, family and friends are growing frustrated with the response from authorities.
The community has been the ones on the front line finding my daughter and figuring out the pieces of the puzzle. We've been doing the work.
Work that no mother should have to do.
I need us to focus on the piece of my daughter. We are still looking for her temple. Has not been found.
As family and friends look for Sade,
and we won't stop.
The meaning behind Scarborough's first tattoo goes far beyond the skin.
Sade Carlina Robinson. She was the most beautiful spirit. She touched everyone's soul.
Reporting in Milwaukee, Kaylee Starrell, TMJ4 News.
All right. So yeah, I thought it would be important for us to see that, and then now we're going to get into the Nancy Grace episode. She's one of those people I love because I like women that are just like, I like to be a little less rude sometimes, but she's funny and it's a show. So, but she gives us good information, and I think both of us spotted that episode, or like, hey, let's do an episode together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to come out sooner with this, but there's just not enough time. Elijah Vu, man, it's going to be a powerful one. Just so you people know, we're going to do an Elijah Vu one tomorrow. And boy, it's action packed, JT. There's been a lot of stuff. You probably know about it, but I put everything in chronological order. And there was a lot that has happened, and it's in bits and pieces. So we got a lot for you all tomorrow about Elijah Vu. I wish I could do it all today.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that was really important what they were doing, that they had people out there searching, though. I'm glad that they were able to get the community together to do that. Right?
Right. Yeah, it's that's what we were doing for Elijah Vu, and we're still doing. I back out there one of these upcoming weekends, and we're just gonna keep looking. That's all you can do.
And Jojo, you've been waiting for Elijah Vu case. So have we. I have a fantastic Poco JT from Poco Moonshine, and I have a giant episode coming up tomorrow. If I had more hours today, we would do it today, but it's got to be done tomorrow. There's a lot to cover, I'll tell you what. So that's coming up. I didn't even have time to set up the late StreamYard, and we still got to do a thumbnail, but we'll do that later on today. So watch out for that. And yeah, thank you all for being here so much.
Actually, so it's something that's near and dear to my heart because I'm in Wisconsin. So, and Sade Robinson, I'm from Milwaukee. So the Wisconsin cases, I usually try to go boots on the ground and see if I can volunteer.
This is and this is why I'm so drawn to JT. You know, he reached out to me when I first started my channel. He's an amazing human being. It's nice when nice people reach out, and so we vibed, and now he's doing a true crime channel, but he has the ability to go out there because he's close, and we can help each other. You can go out there, I can stream, you can show us some things, and we can, just smash the community and try to help missing children and help families and do what we can to keep the cases open. So I'm down for it.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to, while I'm alive, and I'm just trying to be a voice for the voiceless. And so when you subscribe to my channel, that's what you're helping me do. That's what you're doing. Like the channel.
Absolutely.
the channel's going to be live streaming with Jay a bunch, like this, and we're going to just be a voice for the voiceless, and just try to raise awareness. That's the best we can do for people. Thanks for
And you know
subscribing.
what?
I appreciate you.
Yes, everybody subscribe to him, please. Everybody that's here, if you're in the rewatch crew, go subscribe after. If you're watching now, just go ahead and subscribe to him now. There's no competition for me ever. I'm never going to have competition. I stand on my own, and there's enough of everything for everybody.
Right.
So that's how I feel, and that's how I've always done. I'm a team player. And it's always worked for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. And, when I started my channel, I didn't even think about being any of this. I was just interested in true crime, and I saw the people that need help. And then serial killers fascinated me, that I wanted to dig in with people. And I haven't even done that. Now we're doing missing children. So it's great, right? The direction is absolutely a good direction to help people.
Right.
Yeah. You too. You're doing a carnivore channel, and now we're doing this. So, all right. Everybody's subbing. Everybody's subbing. Thank you
guys.
all.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. And Pam, good on you, Jay. It's all about the missing. I agree. All right. Now we're going to get into our next section of today's episode of awareness, I should say. I call them episodes because I don't know. It's just programmed in my head that way. Let's put ourselves aside and play this. I'll speed it up a little. Man, I can't wait for the Elijah Vu case. I'm looking at the stuff that I have for it, and I should probably send it to you.
If they get away with that,
what's that?
If that mom and the boyfriend get away.
I don't think they will. The episode that we're gonna do, I'll tell you quickly. I'll give everyone a little teaser. There might be a deal to them to find the body. If they don't, then I think we may be going to trial without one. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna get away with it though. But I hope they don't get like Kayla Montgomery type of stuff. That's terrible. All right, y'all, hit that like button and let's go. You have anything to say about this before we go, or should we just go?
I love Nancy. She's like, "Are you kidding me? This little angel."
You did a great job out that, man. All right, let's listen to her. It's probably gonna be loud. One sec.
Tonight, bombshell DNA breakthrough in the case of teen girl Sade Robinson. Blood found in suspect Maxwell Anderson home does not belong to Sade. The mystery blood, a backyard grave already dug, and the discovery of a basement sex dungeon. Are there more victims? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. The fourth.
Hold on, we don't need
Just after 7 a.m., someone walking along a South Milwaukee waterline discovered an arm and torso. The remains washed ashore about a quarter of a mile from a nearby apartment complex. Residents watched.
I want you to know really quickly, this is the update. Thank you for subbing up. We're not going to just listen to Nancy the whole time. We are going to stop. If you guys want to watch it without hearing our mouths, go ahead and go to Nancy and watch it. We appreciate all of you. But yes, bombshell tonight, and this just happened, but we didn't have time to do this until today. So as soon as we start getting paid that big money like Nancy does, we'll come out all the time. Right, JT?
Right.
All right, let's go.
As officers carried a body bag down the cliff to recover the body parts. Police have continued their search using a sonar detection boat to scour the lake.
What hell? I mean, pure hell are Sade's parents going through. This young girl in college now appearing. This is the fourth set of remains. This time a torso. What else is missing? And how can they hope to ever bury their girl when they don't have her entire body? A first date turns to murder. A torso just being discovered. We are convinced it belongs to teen girl Sade. How did the whole thing start? Listen.
Sade Robinson, 19, is excited for her first date with Maxwell Anderson, a local bartender. The pair decide on seafood, and Maxwell takes Robinson to the Twisted Fisherman, a place he used to work. After dinner, the date continues at Duke's on Water, and Anderson invites Robinson back to his home. Around 12:34 a.m., Robinson's car leaves Anderson's home and makes several stops around Milwaukee, spending nearly 2 hours at a pump house in Warnemont.
So there it is, the 2 hours. And she looks so young there, man. She's a baby. Isn't she 19 and he's 33 or something like that? Am I correct?
19, you're just a baby. You can't even drink yet.
Oh, yes, you're right. She can't even drink yet. And I think he's like 33. Wasn't he older than her?
Mm-hmm.
I believe. When we do episode after episode, it's like I got to go back. But I know she's a baby. You're right. She couldn't even drink yet. And he had her in a bar for 2 hours, folks. So let's see this through and make this man pay to the fullest for every person that he's victimized, okay? Because this guy is very twisted.
Park. The next day, Robinson doesn't show up for work, and a concerned coworker reports her missing. Hours later, a severed human leg is found on the shore of Lake Michigan down a bluff from Warnemont Park.
Joining me in All-Star panel, but first, for the very latest, out to Erin Maben, investigative reporter and anchor for Fox 6 in Milwaukee. Erin, thank you for being with us. There's so much happening and so quickly in the Sade Robinson case. But first, I want to go to...
Listen how she talks to her guest. It's funny. And I know JT and other people. Sometimes I get criticism. A lot of times I get criticism. Don't cut your guests off. But, you have to learn the balance of when to stop and start. But this one... listen closely though, but she'll stop you and tell you that's not right after she just asked an expert. So it's just interesting, folks. All right, let's go. Yeah, we got to stop. We can't just play her whole thing. So commentary is a must.
It's a must.
The torso. We have a torso, a female torso that has washed up, so to speak. We have unidentified blood, Erin Maben, and not just blood, Erin. For instance, if I go to your home and I see a few spots of blood around your bathroom sink, I'll think, oh, he got his face shaving. This is blood on bedding going up the wall from the basement. And we know that the basement, now uncovered, was a sex dungeon, and blood elsewhere in the home, blood where it shouldn't be in the normal course of one's routine. So with all of this happening, I can't help but wonder, are there more victims? Since that blood does not match Sade, and we have reason to believe it doesn't match the defendant, the suspect. But back to the torso. Tell me everything.
Well, this all began with a severed leg at a park in Cudahy, and it just sparked so much mystery. And that's what this case has been, Nancy. A ton of mystery. Where are these body parts, first off, coming from? And then we later learned that it is Sade Robinson, who's been a missing girl. And then just these series of events continue to pile up. The latest was that arm and torso that washed up on shore. Someone was walking along the beach, Nancy, and they found this arm and torso. Now let's go back to that severed leg, because these places where they were found, really not close to each other. They're a few miles away, about a 10-minute drive from each other. And police were quickly able to identify that this arm and torso were that of Sade Robinson's. I want to talk about where it was found. It's
hold on. Erin Maben, we're showing right now an aerial of the area. Guys, you're hearing Erin Maben from Fox 6 speaking. So
that's a beautiful place. JT, about, have you been there before? You're close to that area.
Yeah, I live like 12 minutes from Lake Michigan, so it's all beach line. And some of it's sand. It depends where you're at. This looks like more in the rocky area. It looks kind of sandy from here, but when you go down, it's like more gravelly rock.
Right. It looks pretty to me. I've heard about Lake Michigan, but I've never been there. So it just looks like
huge. It's
yeah. Is there a place? Are there places like touristy places that people go? I assume.
Yeah, like Bradford Beach. You can just go and hang out. It's great because it's a beach. You can go surfing, do everything you would at a normal beach, except you don't have to worry about getting eaten alive. It's awesome.
Oh,
no
sharks.
Yeah,
no sharks.
We got a normal beach. No sharks.
Yeah, California, we have to worry about that. There, we went to Santa Cruz last year, and the day after we were there, somebody got bit. Their arm lost by a shark the day after. So. yeah, we do have to worry about that. But this place does look beautiful, and it would be really sad to be walking along this beach and find a body part.
Absolutely.
Think about that, folks.
10-minute drive between. Now we've got 4 different series of body parts. So you're saying a 10-minute drive from what to what?
From where that first severed leg was found on April 2nd. And now you're looking at other parts of the city of Milwaukee. This is the north side of Milwaukee, another direction, Nancy. And then a few days later is when that arm and torso were found. And that's what you're looking at right here. This is a very wooded area, a beachy area with tons of gravel. And people walk along the shore. It's super pretty. So people definitely were not expecting to find body parts there.
I'm trying to figure something out. When you say rocky, do you mean as in Pacific Coast, rocky, or do you mean a cliff? You look down on rocks, rocky.
Yeah,
it's
more
walkable. It's
more
walkable.
gravel instead of sand and beach in that area. Think of walking on rocks, not necessarily a cliff. That's going to be more that Cudahy area, that Warnemont Park area where the severed leg was found. That was more cliff-like. This is less cliff-like.
So question, does it appear, Erin Mabin, Fox 6 Milwaukee, that her remains washed ashore or they were discarded there?
Well, we know that people found it as they were walking along the beach and it was washed ashore. Milwaukee Police and the Sheriff's Office have not really released, those details on where they were discarded, how they got there. But the current with Lake Michigan is so fascinating. You drop something somewhere and then it can end up miles away too, just by.
That's very true. With that area, so we don't know exactly where he was or what camera footage they have, and I think they might talk about that later. But yeah, he has a dungeon, and we don't know if it's for extended abuse or torture, or it's just we really don't know many details, but we know that they call it a dungeon basement. And we date one could have been that she just didn't want to go as far as he did, and he took it to that level. Right?
Yep.
I mean, we don't know much more.
Happen with this.
Yeah, I mean, your theory, and it's a good one, was that he took her out to a bar and slipped something in her drink. She wasn't even old enough to drink in the US, and got her back to his house after 2 hours, and then this happened. So it went really quickly, Davey. You're right. Who knows how many times he's done that?
Yeah,
So.
he could be of the way that he moves there.
Sorry about that.
In addition to Fox 6's Erin Mabin, joining me is an expert in exactly that. Keith Cormican, underwater search and recovery expert, director of Bruce's Legacy, searching for Sade in bodies of water. Keith, thank you for taking time out to be with us tonight. Keith, explain your understanding of the discovery of Sade. This last discovery, it's very hard for me to look at her and her photos in life. Now that I feel like I've gotten to know her, a girl making all A's in college, a girl holding down multiple jobs, paying for her own car, her own apartment, really had a plan for her life, just this joyful person. And now I'm talking about the 4th set of body parts discovered. But Keith Cormican, underwater search recovery expert, this part of her body, the torso, is found along a rocky beach area. And I'm trying to determine, do you think it's like Lacey and Connor Peterson, after the husband, Scott Peterson, murdered Lacey, after a period of time, her remains washed up on San Francisco Bay? Or was Sade dumped in this location?
Nancy, I honestly don't think that she was dumped in this location based on the information that I have. I think the probability is that torso was probably dumped in the area where the leg was by that Warnemont Park. Because a torso is the part of our body that will tend to build gas and rise to the surface. And then once it rises to the surface, then it's all dependent on wind and waves where it's going to go. And it's located about 4 miles south of the park of where the leg was known to be. And that's not out of the question to have that part go in that direction the way the winds have been lately. It's my personal belief that I think it's most likely that was put in the area of the Warnemont Park, and it came up during that time and ended up.
Wait a minute. Wait. That is very vague. Keith Cormican, you're an expert at underwater search and recovery, but let me work on your phraseology just one moment. I'm trying to determine like the other three?
It's funny how she's correcting him, but he is giving really good information. He puts it in a different perspective than when we think about it, right?
Right.
And I'm actually picturing this. I'm picturing a torso and a leg and body parts, and it's weird that those body parts were there, they washed up, but then there was just one that was randomly at a park. Like, I mean, that couldn't have washed up anywhere. That had to have just been him just being a weirdo, right?
Well,
I mean,
he put smaller parts at certain places on his way to the lake, and then by the time he got to the lake, he just dumped the rest of what he hadn't dropped off. I don't know, just a theory.
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. When I first heard this about it being in a park, I thought he absolutely just wanted to get the attention. He wanted to know, hey, she's not alive anymore. Here's this, and then mess with the police. So that, I mean, there's no reason to do that and put it in a park so they can find it right away. But then he puts them everywhere. So I wonder, there's a lot of things I wonder. Sometimes people will do that if they want to. Maybe she was a fighter. Maybe she fought back really hard, and he was like, well, I'm mad at her. We don't know the motivations, but this guy's giving good perspective. Nancy's going to correct him, so let's see what she wants to say. He did give good information, though. I didn't think about how the gases blow up in different body parts and how it moves around and where it washes up. All right, let's see what she says.
Types of body parts. Was this torso placed on Earth at that beach, or was that torso thrown into water? And I have a very specific reason for asking. Water, Earth, which one?
I'm not sure where possible. I mean, from what I understand, it looked like it washed up on the beach at that.
Okay, so all I needed to hear, washed up, that means water. And I'm sorry to rush you. I have 1 hour to get through the developments in Sade's case. Why am I in a rush? Because there's a very strong possibility that there are other victims. And you know where I'm going with this, Aaron Mabin? If you don't know a horse, look at his track record. Has he put other victims, specifically, who was that grave dug for in his backyard? Whose blood is that on his wall? Who else had been in that sex torture chamber that he had in his basement? So if he put part of Sade in the water, ergo, has he put other victims in the water? See where I'm going with this?
Well, what I'm going to stop and say is that somebody said if it's not his first, we agree about not being his first. Okay, Davey says if this is not his first, how did he get away with it before? Well, it seems like he did get away with it before, and this time he was just, messing with the cops. There's no reason for him to have put that in a park. So I believe he got away with it before. He was definitely not trying to hide this at all. Keep that in mind. So, Dahmer got tired of it at one point. And that's how he ended up getting caught, is because he was so tired of it. He didn't even care. When they came to arrest him, he was like, oh, he literally said, thank God, I'm glad you guys caught me, because I'm just so tired of this. So what do you think?
I think it would, I was thinking it would be interesting if they could talk to one, if he's got any ex-girlfriends or something, to just see what was his demeanor like. What was this dungeon always there? Like, did you see the dungeon? I don't know. And maybe he doesn't have any, some people don't date a lot. He could be one of those guys. I don't know. But if there is an ex-girlfriend out there, it would be nice to hear from her.
Absolutely. There's a call to action, everybody. If anybody personally is in the area that does know him, is a friend or somebody that dated him, I mean, reach out. I'll put my email below. And if you're a friend of a friend, or someone's friend, just like with the Maddie case, let us know, because we would like to know more about him as a person. I feel like he probably did date more than not. He honestly, when he didn't look all grungy, he looked like a semi good looking guy. His parents had money. When you're a bartender, you're social. So I feel like there was probably some women around him that might know what his demeanor was. Maybe he got violent with them, etc. So call to action, folks. If you know somebody, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Nancy's got to go, so we got to go. Just kidding.
I want to go back to what police are sharing because I wanted to stick to what we know. And there's so much that we are still working to get. But we know that right now, police are just searching for Sade Robinson in connection to Maxwell Anderson. But we did learn in a preliminary hearing just a few days ago that the blood that was found inside Maxwell Anderson's home, they swabbed bedding, they swabbed a wall in the basement. We know that that blood was not Sade Robinson's DNA. I don't want to go too far talking about, what else it could be, but we do know that it's not Sade Robinson's blood. And that was a development that came in that preliminary hearing too. But police are only telling us right now, Nancy, that they are looking at Maxwell Anderson and Sade Robinson together. They're not putting any other speculation out there, any other rumors out there either.
Can I just do a lightning round with you, Aaron? Just a quickie.
Let's do it.
Isn't it true that civilians are the ones that find the body parts? Yes, no.
Sure. In this case, Nancy, her family members
Yes,
have been
lightning
out
round.
searching. Yeah.
Lightning round. Lightning. Yes, no. Okay. And isn't it also true that a civilian found the blanket, the pet tribute blanket that was Sade's near Sade, some of her remains? Civilians. Yes, no.
Yes.
Aaron? Okay. And isn't it also true, Aaron Mabin, that civilians are the ones that are out searching for Sade and any of her remaining body parts? Isn't that true?
That's right.
Okay. My point is, police are saying right now, we're only looking at Sade as a victim. Really? Okay. Let's move forward with what we know. We know that the police have the suspect's blood. They've got his DNA, obviously. We know that they have Sade's DNA. So, hence, I would argue that the blood found in the home, since they're not saying it's the defendant's and they're saying it's not Sade's, is somebody else's. Is that logical to you, Aaron Mabin?
Sure. Yeah, Nancy.
Okay. Going forward from there, Dr. Eric Eason joining me, board certified forensic pathologist, consultant, on Facebook, Eric, August.
She's going to talk, but I'm going to talk for a second. And we're kind of talking about a lot of things in chat, and that's cool. I hope more people come in, hit the like button while you do. Gacy, Davy Jones, you have to look up Gacy, and that, I believe John Wayne Gacy's on my list of serial killers. And I think when you look into the mind of serial killers, it gives you a better idea about the people that are doing crimes today. It's a lot easier to profile a guy like this and many of these other people that are nowadays coming forward that may or may not be serial killers, but they use them to study their behavior patterns, even their brain. So I think it is important for you as a true crime person, or anybody as a true crime person, to kind of learn the history of it. And I think a serial killer like John Wayne Gacy or Jeffrey Dahmer, it just gives you a good idea, and it gives you a better understanding of profiling. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, Gacy, he was in my area, Chicago and Milwaukee. He would come up to Milwaukee and grab a couple kids once in a while. And yeah, it's and he was a birthday party clown, like it's wild. You really can't put nothing past anybody. So you really have to, like, at least that's why I watch true crime. And like you were telling me earlier, your mom was like, see, this could happen. This could happen. You have to be aware of these things. That's mostly.
It absolutely. I mean, like I said, we were in LA when the Night Stalker happened, and it was hot, and you had to lock your windows because he was coming into anybody's window. And my mom was a single mom, and so we were always like, we're not allowed to be around men, all the things that everyone says to do. My mom checked all those boxes, and I feel like a lot of more people need to just make their kids aware. If you're a parent of a young kid, you could say it in the right way, but make them aware, folks, especially with these dating apps, guys, ladies, whatever. They're not going to stop. I saw someone say we shouldn't use dating apps. They're never going to stop.
I met my wife on a dating app, so I understand, but you have to, we met in a public place, we had dinner, and then we both went in our separate ways after that. I didn't ask her to come over. She didn't ask me to come over. We both went our separate ways, and people knew where she was. People knew where I was. There's ways to do it. You could even say, hey, can I bring a friend with me? If you're just really not sure, bring a friend with you on the first date. Make them earn that second date, ladies.
Absolutely. That's good information, especially from a male's perspective of somebody that met his wife on a dating app. I love it. JT, you're in a different generation than I am. I didn't have dating apps. There was no access to that because we didn't have even computers until I was like 17, 18. So you had to go out and meet people. And I've been married almost 20 years. So that being said, it's good to hear from somebody that, met on a dating app, and for you to know, just be safe, people. There's the right way to do it. That's awesome and interesting, a crime to remember that you met Gacy in a hotel before you realized who he was. I'd like to hear more about that in chat. You should get the book The New Evil. I took a look at it. Thank you. Let's see what else. Do we have any other comments before we get back into this? Yeah, New York baby boomer. You weren't allowed to sit on a man's lap, including relatives. Thank God my mom was protective. Everybody should be that protective. My son is protective of his baby sister like that. He tells her, do not even go around a man's lap. He's 24, she's 9. And he's like he tries to be the man of the house because we're 2 women, 2 parents, 2 moms. And so he's like the, man of the house. And he says the same thing. He's like, don't be around men like that. So
Good advice, though. You better safe than sorry out here.
absolutely. Any advice, all advice. And it's always good, like I said, to have a man's perspective on things because it's just different, right? I mean, we never want to man bash. That's why I like having you here, because sometimes we'll say like men, it's not just men, it's women too.
Yeah, and a lot of these predator men have women that help them out, and either cover up
Yes.
for them or help scout for them or in some sort of way. So yeah, it's both. It's both, and we should all just work at spreading positivity, spreading love, and supporting each other, and being a voice for the voiceless when something unfortunate does happen.
Absolutely. And just have knowledge out there for your kids, period. Watch your kids back and spread the knowledge. All right, let's see what Nancy's got to say, who she's going to yell at.
Dr. Eason, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Just in a nutshell, and I'll delve back into it before Aaron Maben gets called off to a scene. Dr. Eason, isn't it relatively easy for a medical examiner like yourself, who has performed literally thousands of autopsies, to determine whether or not a torso has been submerged in water or has it been out in the open in the elements?
That's actually tough to determine. When I was listening to the comments from the other guest, I don't think you would be able to tell whether or not a torso would have been dropped into the water or simply dropped onto land. I think in either situation, it's going to appear the same. So I don't think you can tell.
Wait. Okay, hold on. I've dealt with a lot of medical examiners and a lot of homicide cases. So you're telling me a torso that has been underwater for several weeks would look the same as a torso that had been out in the air above ground for several weeks?
They would probably look a little bit different, yes. That is true.
Oh,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
They'd look a lot different. Anything
Okay.
submerged in water, anything looks different. When you get in the bathroom for 30 minutes, your hand's proving up, for Pete's sake. A torso will look different if it's been underwater than if it's been out on the beach. Look, I'm just a JD. I'm not an MD. How would they look different?
school him.
Let's see. The one in the water, you're going to have.
If
as
Sade
mentioned
Robinson's mother catches you laughing, she's going to rip your throat out. Okay?
course.
Now
That's-
tell me how that
that's
torso looks different if it's been underwater.
See, that's funny. She's making us laugh the way she's talking. And then she says, and she's right. Like, I get emails all the time that I smile at something inappropriate, but I'm not smiling at the inappropriate. It's just, we have a lot going on behind the scenes. And
Well, this guy, I
she
mean,
just-
what expert is he, man? You said a body part that's been laying in the water isn't going to look different. Like, what are you talking about, man? It's soaking up water. Like, he should know better.
right. And Pam Duvall, nobody's laughing. I think what happens, and we explained in the last episode, a lot of times people, and I do that, it's like a nervous anxiety thing. Nancy just called him out hardcore, and then he got nervous and he chuckled because she just like ripped him a new one. So I don't think he was laughing that way. I think he just got like, oh wow, I'm on freaking TV where 1 million people are watching, and she called me out. So yeah, we don't laugh at these, but Anyway, let's listen to what he says. Hopefully he corrects himself.
On the stream right now.
What's that?
I think he regrets being on the stream right now.
Oh, I bet he does. He looks like it. He's like, oh, I hope this hurries up. I do like his lanyard, though. Crime, do not cross. You see that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if he redeems himself.
Going to be bloated for sure, because being under the water, the bacteria are going to multiply and release the gas, and that's going to actually bring the torso up to the surface. It's going to look different than if the torso is placed simply on the land. You're going to get some decomposition that's going to occur, but you're not going to have some of the bloating that we were talking about.
She's a 19, 20-year-old young lady, okay? We all, at this age, we have a lot of friends. She's not in a relationship. She didn't have a boyfriend. She wasn't tied down to anyone. She's single and she's dating. I knew she hung out with her coworkers at Pizza Shuttle. They went out to little bars and hung out sometimes. I'm a very concerned mother. I'm very overprotective. I always would put in Sade's ear, be careful. I don't trust these people around Milwaukee. I'm just that extra type of mom.
Oh.
And my daughter's always, Mom, just sit back. I try to give them space, let them be independent. But I just been having this vibe and intuition. And I have been wanting her just to like not hang out and go out to places for some reason.
In the last hours, multiple updates in the murder case of teen girl Sade Robinson, the first date murder. She thinks she's got a wonderful guy for a date. He's a son of a Milwaukee millionaire in his 30s, in and out of a job as a bartender. First date, she's never seen alive again. With me, an all-star panel, including Erin Mabin, Fox 6 out of Milwaukee. But back to you, Dr. Eric Eason. Isn't it true, I'm just talking off the top of my head here, that if a body had been underwater, we would have at least vascular marbling. We would have dark discoloration of the skin and the soft tissues after about a week or so. You would have bloating of the body. Even if it is just a torso, it would be bloated. And wouldn't you have the beginnings of putrefaction? Isn't that true?
Yes, it is definitely true. Also got to factor in temperature too, though. I mean, I think it's still pretty cold up in Milwaukee right now, so that may slow down some of the decomposition process. But the bloating is definitely probably going to occur with the body that's under the water, correct?
We are also discovering, Erin Mabin, that the torso that was found, the legs were cut off below the hip. Is that correct?
Yeah, that first severed torso right below the hip is where that cutting happened.
You know, I find that unusual, Erin, and I'll tell you why. When I've seen other dismemberments, the dismemberment occurs at the joint, and I'm wondering exactly how this was done. Why? Because it's easier. I don't know if you've ever cooked a chicken before or cut up a chicken to cook a chicken. Maybe you've seen your mom do it. It's not to compare chickens with people, but that is how a dismemberment is more easily done, and that's a typical method of dismemberment. What more do you know about this torso being dismembered just below the hip?
Yeah, so that's where it all began. We just know that prosecutors are saying it actually is kind of close to that joint where that first severed leg was.
We are going to listen to this, but that's interesting that and I'm glad they're talking about it, because most people wouldn't know how to dismember somebody in a proper manner or clean, or where it was not so messy, so to speak. JT, like you said, if the blood wasn't hers and it was somebody else at the house, where the heck was this crime scene? How do you do something like that without leaving an absolute mess?
Well, someone in the comments said maybe it was done in her car, which is maybe why he torched it and set it on fire. And I thought to myself, that's a great theory.
It is a great theory. I wonder, I mean, was he, I just wonder what tools he used. It sounded like it was a pretty clean cut. So maybe, like I said, this guy doesn't sound like it's his first rodeo there. But yeah, dismembering is really violent, and it's not something that's for the faint of heart. Even serial killers that have killed 30, 40 people will say it's a tough job to do. So that's interesting. We'll hear what he says about it and see if he has any theories. But yeah, I just thinking about that. Wow.
Discovered. So I think you're not too far off with where that cutting happened, according to prosecutors too. Unfortunately, we didn't get other details when the torso and the arm were found. We don't know exactly, according to the sheriff's office, where that cutting happened, Nancy. So still some kind of gray areas there. But where that first severed leg was found, according to the prosecutors in this case, it is close to that joint, unfortunately.
So when you say we don't know where the cutting happened, you mean the dismemberment of the body, not the location where the body was dismembered. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the
Okay.
body
Yeah,
parts
which
of
leads me to a whole nother line of questioning, Erin Maben, and that is, if she was dismembered and the blood found in his home isn't his, because they've got access to his DNA, they would tell us if it was his DNA, and it's not hers. The dismemberment didn't happen there. Then where did it happen? Speaking of searching the home, listen to this.
Maxwell Anderson had a sex dungeon in the basement of his West Milwaukee home, according to a law enforcement source. Cops found a sex sling, restraints, and handcuffs. A close friend of Anderson said that on a visit to Anderson's home last year, he noticed a large hole in the ground that was about 5 feet long by 6 foot deep. Anderson said he was working on an underground basement, despite having a large basement in the home already. Neighbors say the basement in the home had small windows that were always covered, so you could not see inside.
Joining me is high-profile lawyer Eric Faddis, trial lawyer, TV analyst, founding partner Varner Faddis, Elite Legal, and, to my purposes, a former felony prosecutor. You can't be a felony prosecutor for very long without catching a couple of homicide cases. Eric Faddis, thank you for being with us. It just keeps coming, doesn't it? More and more.
I'm glad Coach Complete is not here today because he would be making me laugh in this case. I cannot laugh, so we'll keep going. If you guys know, you just know. Anyway, yeah, his dad did have money. They call it, so they call this case different things. Sometimes it's the millionaire, son, and so forth. So maybe it was in the car, or they're going to find other things on other properties. And I like speculating about stuff like this together, JT, because when the evidence does come out, we're going to go back and say, there it is. That it did, it was pretty obvious. So.
Yeah.
Things will come. They're going to come out sooner than later, I think. But let's hear what he says.
More evidence for the prosecution in this case, and I don't care what anybody's saying. When there is a significant amount of blood in the locations in which it was found, I'm going to circle back to Erin Maben in just one moment to get those locations. It's not the defendants. It's not the victim, Sade. I mean, a sex dungeon, a backyard grave already dug. Eric Faddis. There's got to be more victims. And the fact that we now know he disposed of portions of Sade's body in the water, there is no telling what other crimes he may have committed.
Yeah, Nancy, as you said, with each week, it seems like there is a new horrifying revelation in this case. And so now we're hearing about the blood that does not belong to Sade Robinson. Whose blood is that? If it's not Maxwell Anderson, it's not Sade Robinson, it's another person's. It's likely another victim's. And so I'll be interested to hear what police and the government find in searching some of these bodies of water, because that is where Maxwell Anderson allegedly has dumped the remains of his victims. And what other remains are we going to see? That's kind of what I'm looking for.
Speaking of the blood found in the home, take a listen to this.
In Maxwell Anderson's home, police discovered gas cans in the garage and blood in several areas, including on bedding and the wall of a stairwell leading to the basement. After initial DNA test, an amended probable cause affidavit reveals that the blood is not a match to Sade Robinson. Authorities have not made any indication of who the blood belongs to, possibly another victim or Anderson himself.
Behind bars right now, the son of a multimillionaire Milwaukee businessman who was a part-time bartender at the time. This guy, has he had any meaningful interrogations with police? Where is the rest of Sade's body? And in light of a backyard grave already dug, mystery blood throughout his home, a sex dungeon found in the basement, it leaves one to speculate, are there more victims? With me, an all-star panel, but now to special guest, Dr. Jory Crossan, psychologist, former law enforcement faculty, St. Leo University. Dr. Jory, thank you for being.
Yeah, I think the reason we're all having these conversations now, number one, is to keep Sade her in the light and to keep this going. If you notice, her mom's on a ton of different channels. I could probably look up 5 or 6 different interviews. When I was doing the research on this, I saw her and I was like, oh, let me pick one of them. But as information comes out, we will get the affidavit. We'll bring it on here. We'll do some of if it ever gets to trial, we'll do that. Hopefully there's an interrogation or something that we're going to hear from him. So, but this information is really good because I think it gives you a lot of clues and keys to what's probably happening that we may not know about yet. And maybe the police do. So, all right, let's see what this guy says. He's what does it say? Former investigator. Do you remember?
I'm not sure who this guy is, but let's hear him.
All right. Let me hear back real quick what she said.
Doug, mystery blood throughout his home, a sex dungeon found in the basement. It leaves one to speculate, are there more victims? With me, an all-star panel, but now to special guest, Dr. Jory Crossan, psychologist, former law enforcement faculty, St. Leo University. Dr. Jory, thank you for being with us. Explain a sex sling, restraints, handcuffs, and this was all kept secret. The windows, according to an acquaintance of the suspect, were darkened, were boarded over, were covered so no one can look out or in. This was kept away and, for lack of a better word, basement lair. Explain.
Yeah, that would be a behavioral trove of information for anybody that could really properly understand it. First off, with the sex offenders, they want isolation, they want privacy, that gives them time. Also, the biggest thing, and when looking at behavior, is that they're going to build a fantasy from it. That's how they're going to remember this. So what they do and what they can use to trigger that fantasy is going to be very important evidentiary. That's why a lot of them will take what police identify as trophies, like an identification card, driver's license, some clothing, some personal item, so they can relive that fantasy that they've created. Now, the restraints that they're using or that they can use in these, like what's found here, that comes down to that power and control. One of the things that I look at as a behaviorist would be where the site of the dismemberment would be. If it's not in the house, then it's going to be somewhere else. And again, that is not so much as a sexual behavior, but it's an after the fact behavior that now they've got to deal with getting rid of this evidence. That would also lead me to believe that this is not his first homicide. There seems to be a pattern there. The blood at the site, it may prove to be of other victims that were possibly injured or dismembered there at the house.
Dr. Jory Crossan, you mentioned power and control, and having dealt and investigated several dismemberment cases, the ultimate power and control over your victim is not only killing them, but a step beyond that and dismembering their body, putting their body in various locations, hiding them. It's just another assault on your victim and the memory of the victim.
That's true. The dismemberment in this I look at as evidentiary because he's got to get rid of it. Some killers like Ted Bundy, he put his bodies, intact someplace where he could come back, like the necrophilia, right, and visit with the body in its entirety. This behavior is different where, like I say, it becomes getting rid of the evidence. He's still going to have things there to fantasize and recall the event, but this now becomes, removing the evidence and any connection to it.
Joining us right now, crimeonline.com investigative reporter Sydney Sumner. Sydney, thank you for being with us.
All right, before we go to the next one, yeah, I think he was using dating apps frequently. We have way too many pictures of him, way too many selfies of him out there. You don't get that very often with these cases now. It's hard to even find one picture of the guy. So I think he was out there dating, and I think this is probably going to be a bigger case than we realize, everybody. So, yeah, strap in for this because I think there's going to be more. Yeah, Gilgo Beach is what somebody was talking about earlier, the Long Island killer. And you know that one?
No.
Okay. Yeah, the Gilgo Beach one, that was it. That's a huge one going on right now, and they found the remains along, I guess it's Gilgo Beach. They just found a ton of them. Some of them aren't related to him, which means there's a second killer in that area, and he was doing that with sex workers. So it just went unnoticed for a long time because of who they were, and now that it came to light, well, now there's other ones too. So a lot of people out there nowadays. Yeah, this guy she definitely wasn't a sex worker, and she went noticed right away. So we're going to hear about more things soon. I think there's not a ton of people on here, but I guarantee people are going to start following this case as more things come out, because this can't be his first victim.
No.
All right. Yeah.
I noticed in the amended affidavit police, the probable cause affidavit, police very carefully amended the prior information to state that blood found in the suspect's home is not a match to Sade Robinson, the teen girl, whose body parts are still being discovered by volunteers. We know police have the suspect's DNA. That's a very quick test to get a DNA, like a field test done at times of war. What can you tell me about the location of the blood found in the suspect's home, Sydney?
Absolutely, Nancy. That blood was found on a comforter. We're not sure exactly where that bedding was found, maybe Anderson's bedroom. And there was also blood on a wall of a stairwell leading to Anderson's basement. And neither of those patches are matches to Sade Robinson. Unclear who they belong to. Maybe we're talking about another victim.
Eric Faddis joining me, high-profile lawyer and legal analyst. We know that, for instance, a DNA sample like a field test, you can get a yes-no answer in 5 to 10 minutes, as was done from years and years and years at times of war when you have to identify remains. If you want more information, it can take hours. If you want information, a DNA result that you want to take to a jury, then that can take weeks. That said, Eric Faddis, if they have the defendant's blood, then they should know and be able to isolate the blood found in his home and tell us whether it's his blood or the victim's blood. I'm very concerned that there are more victims. And now we have a sex dungeon rearing its ugly head in his basement.
Yeah, Nancy, I think the community shares your concern about possible extra victims. And when we look at this blood sample, they have the defendant's blood. And so it would be relatively easy to get at least a preliminary determination as to whether the blood in his house matched him. And if it did, they should tell the public that, so the public isn't worried about these potential other victims. They haven't done that. And so I must infer from that the police department is at least has a concern that there are other victims of this defendant, and hopefully they're actively looking into that.
I've worked for others. I help others my whole life.
Yeah, the mom's just out there, and she wants to make sure it keeps the attention of everybody. I don't think dating apps are ever going to stop everybody. I mean, it's never going to stop. There's so many people that are now married because of it. We're just in the future. Just be safe. That's all I can say. And let's hear what I think this may be but I don't think it's going to be very long. Let's listen there. See, this one they called the spoiled brat killer. So this was from the other day. That's okay. We can rewatch it.
I've raised my daughters that way. My daughters have excelled. I have 2 daughters. This has caused so much emotional effect to my family, my parents who love my baby so much, her grandparents, her uncles, her aunties, the community. Everyone has pulled up. This has affected many people in Milwaukee.
Guys, over the weekend, it was Sade's mom, Sheena Scarborough's birthday, and she says, and I quote, "That's all I want for my birthday." Sade's mom pleading for help finding the rest of her daughter's remains. Can you imagine that? That's what you want for your birthday? The rest of your daughter's body parts? This as a suspect sitting in jail with 3 hots and a cot, refusing to tell police all the places he allegedly scattered Sade's remains, a first date murder and dismemberment. And she had been so excited for this first date. A group of about 20 people in the last 48 hours were in the Milwaukee River with wetsuits and boats as they continue the search for Sade Robinson. And joining me right now, Keith Cormican, Underwater Search and Rescue.
She's such a baby. Oh my God, she looks like a baby there. I really am glad she does, doesn't she? I mean, she's younger than my son. That's 24, but she looks like she's 16 or 17, Such a baby.
Just a shame.
Yeah, I mean, she was on the right path for everything, and she was so excited.
She was going to
What's
school.
that?
She was going to school for crime investigation.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
It just shows you that you can't spot a demon, and you can't spot someone that, I mean, you can try your best, but we don't know what he acted like, and I hope people come forward. But she was so excited. He was an older guy. He probably knew exactly what to say, and you saw those selfies of him. So it's just sad, guys. Let's get this out there. Let's keep covering the case and hope that they put resources. They keep the resources. It sounds like they are doing that. We're gonna talk to, I think, the diving team next. But yeah, let's keep it going.
Recovery expert searching for Sade in bodies of water. Keith Cormican, tell me about the search of the Milwaukee River.
I know it's a very shallow, very rocky river, so it's going to be very difficult to search and be best all by diving.
20 people out on Saturday with wetsuits and boats. Why do you say it is or is not too shallow for diving?
It would be the best case scenario is to put divers in to search that area.
Mr. Cormican, tell me about your search for Sade.
Sure. So I searched along the shoreline of the park that the leg was found. We searched a shallow area out to about 10 feet, 150 feet off of shore. This area is found to be very rocky, from anywhere from 6 to 2 foot round boulders lined along the shoreline and off the shore. So that's the area that we had been there and searched. Visibility is about 2 feet of visibility is what we had with the remote operated vehicle.
Does your vehicle have side scan sonar?
So my ROV has forward facing sonar, so it shines forward. So it's a very high end sonar, yes. But in a rocky area like this, sonar is not going to work.
No.
So it's all by
Because
camera.
You can't distinguish between rocks and body parts. It's not
Yes.
At this juncture, we're not looking for a body, which would show up even in rock.
Wow, yeah, you definitely nailed that with the area and the rockiness of the area. To me, it looks just like a beach, but you probably can't go right down there. So maybe he went that it probably washed up down that way. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe when like that guy said, the gases started to build up, it started to rise and then down with the current, because it has been very, very windy the past couple of days. And I have no doubt that if something floated to the top, that the current would push it right towards the shore.
Yeah, I because it is kind of similar in the Go-Go Beach, in the way of Go-Go Beach, because it's not a place that's easy to get to where he dumped the bodies either. It's something that you get your legs all cut up and there's bugs and stuff. So that area, you can't just like walk right on there if there's boulders and it's rocky.
Right.
All right. Good. I mean, it's good to know that. I'm glad that you're definitely close to a lot of these areas, man. That's kind of scary, but
yeah, wonderful.
Oh, stay safe.
It should
Stay
make
safe.
content when I take you guys with me. So
Definitely, you will be.
A rocky area because you can make out the outline of it. But if you're looking for body parts with a rocky bottom, you won't be able to tell what you're seeing. Guys, with me is an underwater search and recovery expert, Keith Cormican. Also with me, Sydney Sumner, crimeonline.com investigative reporter.
You're right.
Sydney, what can you tell me about gas cans being found in the suspect's home? And I want to just ask one more time about the blood, the location of the blood.
Nancy, they found those gas cans and the blood stains on that search warrant from April 4th. Gas cans were found in the garage, and that just further corroborates that Anderson is responsible for that car fire. We remember he was seen entering a bus just after the fire started, carrying a tan backpack matching multiple witness descriptions. And that blood, again, was found on bedding, on a comforter, and on the...
I'm only going to pause that because I wanted to look a little closer at it. And somebody said in there, and that's interesting too, why we don't see any. Oh, that's a weird how they did that with us. We're real small. He looks like he's a homeless man, but like, I don't see any blood on him anywhere or any kind of anything. So interesting that somebody called that out. He just looks like a homeless man. I wonder how or what the time frame was, and where, if he did that in the car and then he burned it, how did he get from in the car to being cleaned up to the bus? Isn't that a little bit odd?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, and I think he's not trying to look like a bum, but I think he's just not trying to stand out. So I think he's got on clothes. He's got his hoodie up. You know what I'm saying? I think he's got on things that maybe his friends or people in the area wouldn't notice.
Right.
Ask him, he's just out doing his dirt. I think he just doesn't want to be noticed or.
Well, I wonder what the time frame is. I mean, him taking a bus was that because he went and burnt the car and then needed a ride back somewhere, so he took the bus?
I think so.
Okay, but I wonder what then the time frame of when he dismembered her. How did he get clean from that time to that time? That's interesting. So anyway, someone brought that up, and
I'm curious on still is did he have a car? Did he drive a car to the Twisted Fisherman's and then Duke's? Did they both have a car, or did she just have a car and he met her at the fisherman's place by bus or something? I'm just curious. Was he riding in the car with her?
I don't know. Whenever they talk about the time frame, they just say they.
Yeah, and they say her car, but because it got set on fire, but they don't mention if he had a car too, or if he was bussing everywhere the whole time, and she's the one who had a car. Just odd. I would like to know if he had a car or not, or just drove around everywhere.
Right. And as this goes, I mean, I love doing these episodes now because then later on we're going to come back and fill in these timelines and say, okay, now we know, because that is like, how the heck do you get from there to there? How do you not have a car and then take the bus and dismember someone and not have a drop of blood on you? You know, what did he do? Go do that, go home, take a shower, and then go back and burn the car? Like, so I think we're going to find out a lot more. It seems like there's a lot of cameras around bar areas and restaurant areas and things like that in the city. So just things to think about. All right, let's listen.
Wall of a stairwell leading down to the basement where that sex dungeon apparently is.
I mean, I guess I need to shrink on this one, Attorney Eric Faddis, but who digs a grave in the backyard and doesn't use it? What is that saving it for later? What's that?
Exactly. I mean, you don't need a PhD to find out kind of what a person's intention was. It's a 5 feet by 6 feet grave. It's a human body size. Okay, everyone knows that. And so, what was this guy planning? That this took place, in my understanding, months before the Sade and Robinson incident. And so, what did he have in his mind? What were his plans for Sade as well as potentially others?
Now, hold on, Eric Faddis. I'm not. Yes, jump.
That grave, to me, as a behaviorist, he's looking for the perfect victim to fit in that grave. Okay, he's doing a lot of prowling from what I've been reading about. The internet. Wow. He's working at the bar. He's looking for the perfect victim to fit in that grave.
And you think a bartender is just making you a drink, and the whole time he's looking at you, looking at your driver's license that you hand to prove DOB. This guy right here. Think about it. His dad, a Milwaukee millionaire, offers him a job, gives him nepotism, a job in his insurance brokerage firm. As I recall, that's what it was, Sydney Sumner. But he can't hold the job. He can't hold it. And at 33, he's a part-time bartender when he can hold down a job, scoping out and hunting like a hunter, like Dr. Jory Crossan said. And let me remind everybody, he's innocent for now until the state proves him guilty. But what Eric Faddis just said, let me see, Faddis, you said that I'm not saying you're right or wrong, but let's just pretend that you're right, that the grave was dug in the backyard well before he had a date, his first date murder with Sade Robinson, the teen girl college student. What was it for? Who was it for? And if it was for any other purpose, why wasn't it used and covered up? Did nobody notice there's a grave in the backyard? I got a neighbor that can tell you everything that happens in my backyard. Nobody noticed a grave back there?
Because you're Nancy Grace.
Fair questions. And it sounds like at least one of the friends or acquaintances of Maxwell Anderson was aware of this grave in the back. And the explanation that the suspect Maxwell Anderson gave doesn't make any sense, that he was building another underground basement when he already had like a full underground basement in his primary residence. Makes no sense. And so, anybody with a mind is going to look at this and start thinking, what other uses was he trying to put this to? What other people was he eyeing down for purposes of this backyard grave?
Water searches of Lake.
He does look like the Sons of Anarchy guy. I agree with that. Charlie Hunnam. And that's not a good thing, people. That means there probably were a lot more women that he was attracting. And like I said, you saw that. You saw those pictures.
It makes you
That's
want to
sad.
show your ID to somebody, because your address is on your ID. And nowadays,
Right.
people didn't even put glasses. I mean, have these glasses that have video filming in them. So you could
I
be
have those.
yeah, you could be filming everybody's driver's license, and then you just pick your like she was talking about. You just size up your next victim. Like who do you want, and then you would have their personal address, their age, their name. It makes me not want to share mine. I tell you that.
Yeah, agreed. And vulnerable young women. I mean, again, he was 33, she was 19, and she probably was a lot smaller than him. And it perfectly said sizing her up. Sade's mom believes at least 3 other young dismembered girls were also his victims. I wouldn't doubt it if there's even more than that. All right, let's see what they talk about the diving here.
Michigan have proved unsuccessful in the search for more of Sade Robinson's remains. The rocky shoreline does not allow for a clear sonar picture. Someone walking the shoreline on a remote stretch of beach in South Milwaukee discovered what is believed to be Robinson's torso and arm washed ashore. Robinson's right leg, left foot, and other unspecified flesh were previously recovered. Robinson's phone pinged in the area of Kern and Pleasant Valley Park before it traveled south to Warnemont. But there have been no reports of a large-scale law enforcement search in that area.
Back to Sydney Sumner. Speaking of cell phone pings, we saw what digital footprints can do in a trial, such as the Alex Murdaugh trial and the double murder trial for the slave, his wife and son, or what we see it doing in the Brian Kohberger quadruple slay out in Idaho. Tell me about the digital data in this case, Sydney.
Nancy, in this case, the cell phone data starts with Robinson's text messages with Maxwell Anderson before their date Monday evening. So they texted around 5 p.m. to decide where to eat that night, and they arrived at Twisted Fisherman around 6:30. Excuse me, they arrived at 5 p.m. and they left around 6:30. This all indicated by Robinson's cell phone. From the Twisted Fisherman, the couple traveled to Duke's on Water, and this was also evidenced by Robinson's cell phone. They stayed there until about 9 p.m., and Robinson sent a Snapchat to her friend from Duke.
So there it is. They're in Robinson's vehicle right there. So, and he was riding the bus. Maybe he just rode the bus because he needed to get back, right, from burning the car. But this guy just seems kind of, even besides the fact that he's not guilty yet, but he definitely seems like a loser, right? Can't hold down a job, hunting women. Who knows what else?
Just a guy with too much time on his hands too. That's for sure.
Right. He does remind me of a lot of those people. There's a lot of murders. I could do a whole episode or like a whole series on people that have rich parents and they end up becoming that murders and doing, drugging and doing that much more than that. But the heir to the Max Factor reminds me of this one right here. All right, let's listen to this. You guys can see the pings and everything. Definitely didn't hide much, man.
That she turned that in when she reported Robinson missing the next morning. From Duke's, they traveled to Anderson's home, and her phone was there until about 12:45 a.m. It pings near Pleasant Valley Park, then pings at Warnemont Park, where its phone battery dies at 4:35 a.m. That was her last known location. Robinson's family also had Life 360 groups. They were also able to track her using that app, aside from her pings, and they have been out searching those areas, evidenced by that Milwaukee River search over the weekend.
Eric Faddis joining us, trial lawyer. Eric, is it true, Eric, that he waived his preliminary hearing? And what does that mean to you legally?
That's my understanding. And it's a bit of a head scratcher on that one, because usually a defendant will waive their preliminary hearing in exchange for some either plea offer or some promise of future negotiations. Because if there's no plea offer on the table and the defense going to trial anyway, usually they say, hey, prosecution, you got to prove the probable cause at the preliminary hearing. You're not giving me anything to waive in exchange for this. So y'all prove it. The fact that he waived it is a bit of a head scratcher. I don't know any communications that have taken place between the prosecution and defense regarding a plea.
Eric Faddis, there may have been other reasons that the lawyers waived a preliminary hearing. They may not have wanted him back in court for more pictures, for more publicity, because the impression he's giving in court is not a good one. You know the state has enough PC probable cause to move forward. So why put it on parade in open court?
Yeah, Nancy, that's a solid point. The community is already beginning to have an impression of this defendant, and perhaps defense did not want to further worsen that impression that everyone already has of their client by going to a probable cause hearing and airing out all of these egregious, horrendous alleged facts against Maxwell Anderson here. So perhaps that was the strategy of waiving the preliminary hearing.
As this case inches toward trial, we stop to remember an American hero, Sergeant Alec Langan, just 23 years old. Alec Langan dies in a helicopter crash with 4 other Marines, Feb 6, 2024. Awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, National Defense Service Medal, and 2 Sea Service Deployment ribbons. He leaves behind grieving wife, Casey, and parents, Karen and Stephen. American hero, Sergeant Alec Langan. I want to thank all of our guests for being with us tonight, but especially to you for being with us.
All right. Well, thank you, Nancy, for all of your information. She always is entertaining. That's a good word. Entertaining. Well, she brings really good information. I do like that she keeps her people on track because she does have a lot of guests. She has full panels, and I guess if she just lets them go off, we'll never be off, and she only has an hour. So
experts, they got a lot to say, I guess, right?
They do. They're very detailed, right? They're going to be really detailed, and she just has to keep them on track. So I like that. I think we should take some of these comments, JT, and maybe on the next episode, we could talk behind the scenes, but when I see these comments, and we haven't really looked into these things yet, maybe we can look into some of the things, like, maybe who his family is without getting too personal and about his behavior. Maybe he's diagnosed with something. Maybe he's schizophrenic, or there's some information out there. Is there anything you know about other than what we're seeing in comments?
Yeah, I do know that I read an article that Maxwell Anderson's father put out a statement and said that he was sad to hear about the death, and his heart was with the family. So I thought that was nice of this guy's dad.
Yeah, that is nice. I wonder, did they name the dad? Do you remember? You don't have to remember his name. I'm just curious.
No, he just said the father of Maxwell Anderson.
Okay. Yeah, they probably don't want to be related to that at all. And leads me to the next question. I wonder if the reason they set the bond, I think they say 15 million or some crazy high amount, was because the parents have money.
Right. He's loaded.
And I wonder if his dad is paying for. See, these are all the things we have to. And I'll go back and watch this so I can look it up. But I wonder if he has a defense attorney, a public defender, or the defense attorney, like a high paid one. I don't know if anyone knows that. Have you heard anything?
No, I haven't heard anything on his attorney yet, or his defense. So that'd be interesting to keep an eye out for that.
Right. Yeah. And I'll go back and I'll watch this and just take a look at some of the things. I think more is going to come out. Right now, it's just, we're kind of just hoping to find as much as we can, as many parts as we can, so the family can feel like they can put Sade to rest, and then we can move forward with justice.
Right. And he did plead not guilty, which is that's frustrating, but I suppose he just wants to put out the evidence to make it a done deal. He's not going to apparently give himself away.
Yeah. And, people like that, again, and I'll say people like that because we're talking about a whole community, a true crime community, people that do things like that, would put a body part in the middle of the park, likes the attention. You saw him in his mugshot. He had a smirk on his face. He wanted that body part to be found. So if he pleads not guilty, he gets to go to court and see the pictures and see the family's reaction and kind of toy with people.
Yeah, he gets to relive that fantasy, like that guy said. And he is scheduled, it says here, to be back in court on May 16th.
Okay, good. So we should watch out for that. I think I'm gonna, in the side notes, we'll have to start. I'll make a calendar. I'm gonna start doing that because we have a lot of things coming up. The cases that were coming up even next with the treadmill killer and then Elijah Vu. There's a bunch of dates for hearings and things like that. So you said on the 16th.
Yep, May 16th.
May 16th. Okay. Yeah, let's all keep an eye out for it. And you guys are so amazing, the crime crew. We appreciate you. Everybody always appreciates the crime crew and the crime crew official. I put my email down below. So anybody that wants to email me or JT, when your email's on your page, is that right?
I got to set up one for my new channel to funnel in all the true crime stuff. But when I have that up, hopefully next stream for Elijah Vu, I'll have that set up. But I don't have it right now, Jay.
Okay, that's okay. They can. JoJo never lets me down with content.
JoJo.
JoJo for show. I love saying that name too. It's funny.
And thanks to Carly for modding. Appreciate that.
Yes, Carly is amazing, and we have Carly's modding for both of us right now, so we don't get what happened last time, which we won't talk about right now. But and also Bree is here modding for me, so thank you. Let's see. Deb says I've been watching the treadmill case. Resumes on Tuesday. Would love an Elijah update. We are doing an Elijah update, and that will be tomorrow, unless we decide to switch it to tonight and do the treadmill case. But I haven't even came up with it. I have the episode. We'll talk about that afterwards. It seems like more people want an Elijah update. I don't know.
Yeah, and that Elijah case, I mean, the treadmill case. Oh my gosh, I had to pause that video. I couldn't even watch the whole thing. Like, I know he didn't get killed in the video I watched, but I just couldn't watch that little kid on that treadmill. That was just, as a father to a 2.5-year-old, that just broke my heart watching that.
Right. And what do you have anything tonight? Because what I'm going to put on tonight, what we're going to do is there is some of that footage. There's different footage of the treadmill, by the way. They have different times of it. I don't know if you saw that, but so some of it doesn't have any volume, and we'll have a conversation during that. So anyway, I have obviously I have something planned and it's up already, but
people want to come back with you. I'm more than willing to come back. It's on the people.
Well, no, yeah, you guys come. We're scheduled for 4 o'clock today for the treadmill case. So if most people come back like around that time, I notice. I don't know why this particular case doesn't get as much attention as some of the other ones. If we were doing Madeline Soto right now, there'd be 700 people in chat, but there's only so much you can do. And
but each case is important regardless, right? That's why we're doing this.
Absolutely. So Nicole, we have Sebastian, we have Maddie, we have Elijah, we have Sade, and yeah, those are the 4, but I think there might even be more than that. There's Summer Wells that we're still looking at. Yeah, I have a whole list that's on my YouTube right now. So we are going to come back. We have it already scheduled. In the meantime, I'll talk to you right after this, and we'll schedule it. Everybody that wants Elijah Vu, we're going to do an update tomorrow. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff, guys. There's a lot of things that happened in between that you don't know about, probably because you're asking for it. And I had to dig around for a while, and there's a heck of a show coming for you, so you can see what's going on, dates coming up, things that happen that we don't know about. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll be back here at 4 o'clock. So thank you all. We all love you, and go subscribe to JT's channel.
Thanks, Jay.
Have a good one. Go ahead. Closing thoughts.
No, I just wanted to say, again, this is a shame that this woman was taken, and she didn't even get a chance really to be a woman. She was a girl. She was a young girl. And I just wanted to say, if there's anybody from the family or anything that is watching the stream, whether it's replay or live, our hearts and our love is with you. And you can't imagine what you're going through, and we're here to show support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the anybody support for anybody, anything, we're open for stuff. Go to JT's channel, subscribe. He'll get his email up soon, and then you can blast him with information as well. I don't always get to get back to everybody. So all right, so we'll be back in like an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to play the outro, and on that note, we love each and every single one of you, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one. All right. If I could find my outro, would be good. All right.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?
All right.